The train was packed to the brim, shoulders brushing, bags clanking, and voices blending into a chaotic hum. Somewhere in the middle of it all, Anaya sat by the window, clutching a worn book to her chest. She had just finished a long shift at the bookstore, her feet ached, her head throbbed, but her spirit always stayed kind. That was something her mother used to say, no matter how tired you are, don't forget to be kind. It costs nothing, but it can mean everything. As the train slowed into another crowded station, a man entered holding the hand of a little boy who looked barely 5. The boy clutched a teddy bear, sleepy eyes darting around the compartment. There were no empty seats. The man, in an expensive-looking overcoat and shoes that didn't belong to the chaos of public transport, glanced around uncomfortably. The child tugged at his hand. Anaya noticed them instantly. She didn't think twice. Standing up, she tapped the man gently on the shoulder. "You can sit here. Your son looks tired." He blinked, as if surprised someone had spoken to him kindly in this space. "Thank you, that's very kind of you," he said, his voice calm, deep. The boy smiled sleepily. "Thank you, lady." Anaya smiled and leaned against a pole, swaying gently as the train jerked back into motion. The man sat down with his son on his lap, whispering something in his ear that made the boy giggle softly. Anaya didn't know then, couldn't have known, that this small gesture would change the entire course of her life. That night, as Anaya trudged into her small flat in the old neighborhood of the city, she found herself thinking about them, the soft-spoken father and the child with the bear. Something about them lingered. Maybe it was the way the man looked at his son, like the world only made sense when the child was near. Or maybe it was the sadness in his eyes when he thought no one was watching. Weeks passed. Anaya returned to her routine. Bookstore shifts, evening classes, late-night tea by the window. The city kept moving, unaware of the small kindness that had passed between strangers. Until one rainy morning, Anaya was unlocking the bookstore when a black car pulled up to the curb. She barely noticed until the door opened and a man stepped out, umbrella in one hand, a little boy in the other. It was him. "Hi," he said, walking toward her. "I don't know if you remember me." Anaya smiled, shocked but calm. "The train." He nodded. "I never forgot that moment. Most people just look away when someone needs help. You didn't." She shrugged, embarrassed. "It was nothing." "It wasn't," he said. "My son, Arav, had just lost his mother a month before. That was our first train ride together. I didn't know how to handle his grief. I was breaking inside, and your kindness made that moment just easier." Anaya's eyes widened. She looked down at Arav, who smiled shyly. "Hi again," he whispered. The man extended his hand. "I'm Ryan Mara." Her breath caught in her throat. She knew that name. Everyone in the city knew it. Ryan Mara, the tech tycoon, CEO of Mara Dynamics. Billionaire. Headlines. Scandals. Loss. And yet, here he was, standing in front of her bookstore, eyes not full of pride, but of gratitude. Their paths began crossing more often after that. Ryan would stop by with Arav, sometimes to buy books, sometimes just to say hello. Over time, those hellos became coffee turned into long conversations, and long conversations into companionship. Anaya discovered things about him the world didn't know, like how he still kept his late wife's letters in a drawer he never opened. How he felt like a failure trying to be both mother and father. How he longed for simple things, normal things, like picnics and bedtime stories and shared silences. And Ryan learned about Anaya's quiet strength. How she had raised her younger sister after their parents died. How she had dreams of writing stories but gave them up to survive. How she never complained, even when life was hard. It wasn't love at first sight. It was slower, deeper. It was the kind of connection built on quiet moments, understanding, respect. But like all stories, there was a turning point. One day, Ryan stopped coming. No texts, no visits, no explanations. Anaya's heart felt the absence like a void. She didn't chase. She had learned long ago that people left, sometimes even the ones who promised they wouldn't. A month later, headlines blazed with news. Mara Dynamics CEO resigns unexpectedly, sources say custody battle brewing. Ryan was fighting his in-laws for Arav. They had never liked Ryan, blamed him for their daughter's death. Claimed he was unfit, that his wealth distracted him from parenting. Anaya's phone buzzed one night. "Can I see you?" When she opened the door, he was standing there, tired, disheveled, eyes rimmed red. I lost the case, he whispered. They took him, said I wasn't emotionally stable, that I was too busy to care. Anaya's heart broke. Fight it, she said gently. Don't give up, not on him. I don't have anyone in my corner anymore. You have me. Those 3 words changed everything. The next few months were a blur of courtrooms, character assessments, media pressure, and emotional strain. Anaya stood by him through it all. She attended hearings, spoke on his behalf, and never once wavered. Her testimony was simple but powerful. I saw a father trying, a man grieving, but more than anything, I saw love. Real, present love. Eventually, the court listened. Ryan got full custody of Arav. And this time, when he returned to Anaya's doorstep, it wasn't just to say thank you. I don't want you to be a chapter in my story, he said. I want you to be my whole book. Anaya stood frozen, tears blurring her vision. For a girl who had always read stories but never thought she'd have one of her own, this moment felt surreal. Are you sure? She whispered. He nodded. I've never been more sure of anything. The wedding was small. Close friends, family, and of course, Arav, who proudly handed Anaya a ring with the words, "You made my dad smile again." Years passed. Anaya didn't work at the bookstore anymore. Instead, she owned it. And she finally published her first novel, a story about kindness, second chances, and the magic of one small seat offered on a crowded train. People who read it often asked, is it based on real life? She would smile and say, every word. And so, dear viewers, if you ever think your small acts don't matter, think again. One seat, one smile, one moment of kindness, it might just change someone's entire life. And maybe, just maybe, it might change yours too.